Sarah Trover, and we're going to do our partner meeting a little bit different this year. So we're going to kind of do a quick video just to get everyone on the same page. So I'm going to talk about the big read for 2021, which is about Emily St. John Mandel's Station 11. So you might wonder what the NEA Big Read is. The NEA Big Read is a partnership with Arts Midwest, and it's really where we focus on one book to generate conversation about the arts and about kind of the humanities. So we're all focusing on one book, but it's really just the catalyst for conversations. So this year we're all going to read Station 11, and it's going to spark conversation among our diverse communities. The sponsorship from the NEA is incredibly important to bring this program to the Wabash Valley. We received $15,000 from them, but we also received $2,000 from Altrusa. This money actually rolled over from last year, from 2020, because obviously that program was cut short. So we were able to use that funding to bring the program this year. Obviously, you can see that the Friends did not get to sponsor this year's program because they were rendered inactive due to the pandemic. So we're so thankful we had $17,000 to bring this program to life. I'm so proud to say that we're one of only 75 Big Read programs across the country, and this year, the only one in the state of Indiana. I think we're so fortunate that we keep receiving the Big Read grant, and that's really because of the impact it has across the Wabash Valley. We are so lucky that our community has grown to appreciate this program. So make sure that as we are giving out books and hosting these programs, that we make sure our community knows how fortunate we really are. We kind of go into this program every year as a given that we're going to have a Big Read grant, and it really is not. We are so fortunate that the National Endowment of the Arts supports us with this Big Read grant. It is not always a guarantee. So we are very lucky. This is our 5th year in a row. So make sure that we appreciate it as such. So I'm always so fortunate that I get to tell us that we received it again. And I'm always so nervous it's going to be our last year to have it. So one of only 75. So what a great accomplishment. This year, there's something additional to be proud of, especially here at the Vigo County Public Library. This is actually our 20th community read. So we started out in 2001 with a program that was just a community read here at the library, and then we did if all of Vigo County read the same book starting out in 2003. Our first NEA Big Read was in 2007. So we have a lot to be really proud of. So this is really a legacy program. So I want us to really appreciate that in itself. So now in the specifics of why we chose Station 11, and also one of the most important things about this year's program is that I've expanded it to include March and April, mainly because we all deserve a little bit of breathing room this year. We all know that last year's program did not go as expected, and I think this year we all deserve a little bit of breathing room. I know that March and April might not go as planned, so let's give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. You might have people in your offices or in your library that need to go into quarantine, and you lose them for 2 weeks, so let's give ourselves a little bit of extra space. So keep that in mind. There is an additional month on purpose. So Station 11 was chosen last year before we had our own pandemic that made things, get shaken up a little bit. But I think this book is really important because it does challenge the reader to look around and see hope even when things seem bleak or complicated. Also, it focuses on the arts and the relationships that we cherish, things that are timeless, things that make this book a very good choice for right now. So I think that there's a lot that we can really work with this novel, no matter what we're dealing with, challenges in our own life or in our own community. So though I keep highlighting how the Big Read is going to be different this year in 2021, we really are hosting the Big Read for the same reasons. It's to have community conversations, it's to reach audiences in diverse ways, and it's to celebrate the arts. And even though these might look a little bit different this year, it's really for the same reasons. So as long as we keep that in mind, it's going to be smooth sailing. Preface this by saying that this is not a book talk I'm giving. This is a discussion about the Big Read in general. So the main objective of the novel is survival is insufficient. So in the novel, it is about 20 years after a flu pandemic. So the flu has come through and it's really decimated society. And so they are rebuilding society as a whole. It's not about the struggle for food. It's not about the struggle for rebuilding. They're beyond that. It's about what survival is about for them. So it's following a traveling symphony that does Shakespeare. They're playing music. So that's what I really love about this novel. Survival is insufficient is a quote that they say and they have written on the tarp that's a part of the Traveling Symphony's trailer that they carry from place to place. And it's a theme that I very much so appreciate and I think is very connected to even our theme of carrying on the big read in our very unusual circumstances this year. The author of Station 11 is Emily St. John Mandel. She's a Canadian author and she's living in New York City currently. Station 11 is her fourth novel, and it was very well received and well awarded. She is a living author, and we had talks of bringing her to the Wabash Valley, of course, before the pandemic hit last year. So I would encourage you to watch videos of her speaking about her work. She has some very interesting insight into what encouraged her to write this novel. So please do look for those videos. I'll send you some links as well, so enjoy. There are many themes you can delve into with the title Station 11. One of them that I keep harping on is the arts. So valuing the arts is a key component of this novel. Power is another one, especially the abuse of power. One of those key characters is the prophet. So several times when rebuilding society, there are people that rise to power because we're always looking for someone to kind of be the guide. And sometimes those that guide us are not always the best leaders. Also, memory. Small events have huge meaning in hindsight. So I think those are some of the key components that I think make great themes to discuss when reading the novel and when having book talks. So there are many others that you could really seek yourself. So if you have some other great ones, please do share with the group. So those are some that I've enjoyed kind of programming with. So this is basically going to be the slide where I say, yes, we are hosting a big read about a pandemic during a pandemic. But I'd also like to kind of stop the conversation there because this pandemic in Station 11 is really nothing like COVID-19. So if you haven't read the novel, this is the time to really kind of understand the differences. Georgian flu is the flu virus that is in Station 11. It is nothing like COVID-19 because it's something that really hit hot and heavy. It killed 90% of the population within a matter of weeks. COVID-19 is nothing like that, and aren't we so thankful? So when discussing the novel, especially when trying to encourage people to read it, we need to be really upfront and describe that it's really nothing like that, and it's a very small part of the novel. Really, the novel is about life afterward. So let's just kind of get that out of the way right out the gate. And that for us, I think this is really the opportunity that we can kind of appreciate where we are and that we have the power to support our local businesses and artists through our current challenges. And that we are making the right decisions for our community. Safety is what's important to us and making the right decisions for our community. We know when to say no when it comes to hosting large events. And we know how to keep the integrity of our program and when to make changes because we care about the safety of our community. So let's give ourselves an applause for even hosting a community program and having these difficult conversations. So I'm really proud that we're able to host a program that I feel safe and confident in, and I hope that you feel the same way. One of the other large discrepancies between our current circumstances and Station 11 is the grid. So in Station 11, the grid falls, and that's really the biggest difference between their world and ours, very much so less than a flu virus. So their grid falls, and that means that communication between people is gone. That's not just about different parts of the world. That's just miles away. They have no communication. So in our current pandemic, the grid is what's keeping us together. That's what's allowing our kids to go to school. That's what's allowing us to work from home, keeping us safe. That's what's allowing us to just be able to stay sane. Oh my goodness, I don't know about you, but if I wasn't able to communicate with people, I'd be going nuts. So anyway, that's also what's allowing us to host a big read program in 2021. We're able to host virtual programs. We're able to even do this training session because the internet exists. Oh my goodness. So I think that's one of the things that I just love is like we're able to just do this differently. And in some ways, almost, may I say, better. So I love that we're able to just use unique thinking and just use alternative methods to get the same points across. So I love to think about the way that our world is differing from Station 11 and our pandemic is allowing us to just use different kinds of thinking, and the arts and design is allowing us to kind of plan in new ways. the very best things about this novel is its accessibility. That's one of the biggest issues I've had with the big read novels over the last few years is how hard they are to access. But Station 11 is really breaking the mold. So not only is it available in large print, it's available ebook and audiobook, it's available in Braille, it's available through the Talking Book Library, and it's also been printed in 27 different languages. Right now at the VCPL, we have it in French, Russian, Spanish, and Portuguese. So you can actually get this on the shelf through the book club section. I did that on purpose, so they're all in one area. So you can also get it through interlibrary loan. If your home library is not the VCPL, you're able to borrow those copies. So if you have customers that need those. In conclusion, I'd like to invite you all to our keynote presentation by Dr. Laura Bates. She will be kicking off our Big Read program with our March 5th keynote. So this will be virtual through Zoom. It'll be starting at 6:30. So you can enjoy this from the comfort of your home. And I really think that Dr. Laura Bates is our perfect keynote for this abnormal program because she's going to be talking about the universal appeal of Shakespeare, which connects perfectly to Station 11 and how they chose Shakespeare because of its universal appeal. And she's going to be talking about her personal experience, not only being a community read author, but her experience teaching Shakespeare in prisons. And also just, it's going to be a way to kind of celebrate our 20th community read. So going into this abnormal community read and celebrating how we've made it 20 years, celebrating reading a novel as a community and a very diverse community that we are, because this is a read that we do as a really diverse Wabash Valley. This is a program that we do in Marshall, in Paris, Illinois. We do it in Sullivan, in Clinton, in Terre Haute. We do this many years in prisons, in our high schools. It's something that we do collectively, and I think that's something we need to really celebrate. So even though this year is different, and even this training was different, I didn't highlight programs this year. I highlighted more of the novel in general because I'm going to be connecting with you guys throughout the 2 months because as we all know, things are changing every day. So I want to make sure this is more connected on a daily basis, almost a weekly basis, more so than just a few times throughout the months. So thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate you being so adaptable as we do a very unique big read. So thank you so much for your time and your patience. I appreciate everything that you do.